Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to work on posture in the upper torso. So there are four muscles that I want to concentrate on. They are the pecs, the two pecs, the pec major and the pec minor. And on the back, the traps, the trapezius and the rhomboids. These muscles help us to stay erect, and they often get weak and tight. So what happens is these muscles, the ones on the back, quick summary, trapezius and rhomboids, they are responsible for pulling your shoulders back, widening this area of the chest. The pec muscles, the pec major and the pec minor, are pulling your shoulders forward. So here we are in cow pose or cow spine, and this is the traps and the rhomboids working, and then when we round, the two pecs are working. Okay? Now, a little more in detail. The traps go from your neck out to your outer shoulder blades and then down to your lowest thoracic spine where the rib attaches, where the lowest rib attaches in the back. So, big flat diamond-shaped muscle. Underneath the traps are the rhomboids. The rhomboids connect your upper thoracic spine to the inner border of the shoulder blades. Traps, outer border, rhomboids, inner border. So these muscles help each other to really open up your chest and lift your upper spine into a back bend, okay, and pull those shoulders back. Your pecs, your pec major, if you take one hand across your chest onto your pec major and you push forward with the other hand as though you're pushing something very heavy away, then you feel that pec major engaging. The pec minor is underneath those large pec majors. The pec minor, if you come from your shoulder and draw a line to your xiphoid or your lower sternum, then right below the shoulder on that diagonal, you'll feel the pec minor. That's underneath the pec major somewhat, but you can dig your fingers in and feel around, and that you won't be able to tell exactly where it is, but in a second you will. But go ahead, dig your fingers around and give it a little bit of a massage. And then take the other arm forward and push as though you're pushing something heavy. Cross the hand towards center and maybe past center. Now you're feeling your pec minor engage. It's responsible for adduction or bringing your arms toward the center. All right. What happens when the posture in the upper chest or upper torso is not aligned is that the back muscles get weak and the front muscles get tight. The back muscles get weak because we do so much in front of us. We do the major things like computers and phones, but even sitting in a chair, driving, chopping vegetables, we do all that in front of the body, right? So we do this position so much more than we do this position, right? So what happens is those pecs are in a shortened position a lot. And then these muscles, because they're not being worked, because we're not doing a back bend type of thing, that is creating weak traps and rhomboids. So we need to basically strengthen the upper back, stretch the chest in order to have aligned posture in the upper torso. Aligned posture will give you freedom, right? It will give you freedom from aches and pains, and it will give you freedom in the breath. And the country of India, the beautiful culture of India, brought yoga to this country. And in that culture, there is such an emphasis on the breath. So this is an artifact from India. It's a Buddha. And this Buddha, you can see his posture is quite beautifully erect. He is lifted in that upper torso, but he's not lifted in a military way, right? He's not overly lifted. He has this beautiful evenness from front to back of posture, and that's opening up the nadis so that prana can flow. The nadis being energy channels, the prana being energy. So energy can flow beautifully from his root all the way up to the crown of his head in this posture. And that's really freedom is what we're going for, right? So let's begin strengthening the upper back, stretching the chest, and creating aligned posture. Grab your therapy balls. If you don't have therapy balls, you can use tennis balls. They're pretty much the same size. They're actually just slightly smaller. If you have a foam roller, you can use that in place of this. We're going to do the upper traps. So come to a wall, and if you have a tote, go ahead and put, if you have therapy balls with a tote, put them in the tote. If not, just use your tennis balls right against the wall. And you're going to place them just below the neck here, all right? And even right there, just letting the therapy balls nestle into the trap feels really good. So right here, we're in the upper fibers of the trapezius muscle, getting them to stretch a little bit just with a little pressure. Not a lot, just the weight. We're at about the top of the rhomboid here. So we're going to bend the knees and let the roller go up, and then lengthen and let it go down. Bend and lengthen, bend and lengthen. Keeps catching my hair. Bend and lengthen. Now mine have rolled up my back a bit, so I'm going to let them slide down a little, and I'm going to bring them even a little lower than we started. Down and up, bend and straighten. And you can use your sensations to guide you here, where you really feel this. If you feel a knot, you can stay there or near it. Sometimes being on the knot can be too much. Let's come onto the back. If you've got a foam roller, I would place it lengthwise on the mat. If you've got the balls, tennis balls or therapy balls, then place them across the mat. All right, come down and try to find the middle of your shoulder blades. You can feel the top of your shoulder blade. It's got a pretty, the spine of the shoulder blade, I should say, has a pretty prominent ridge, so you can usually feel that. So go an inch or two below that. All right, and then lay your head down and interlace your hands behind your head. And we'll lift up toward a bridge pose. Stay up in the bridge and roll forward and back. If this is too much, you can stay on the wall. This is the same exact thing we did on the wall. Bring your hips down. Take your hands out from behind your head and lay your head on the floor. If you have the roller, then rest your head on the roller. Don't have it be hanging back. Take the arms up to the sky, and we're going to circle the arms in a big circle to the right. So bring both arms over to the right, and then bend the elbows and cross the hands in front of you close to your chest till your left arm stretches out to the left. And then reach up to the sky and continue in this big circle. And you can feel those balls nestling into the traps and the rhomboids underneath the traps. Change the direction of the circle now. I'm having to adjust a little bit because I'm getting a little ping in one area. I think it's hitting a nerve, so make sure you adjust if you need. Now bring the hands back up to the sky. Hug yourself, one arm over the other. And we're going to rock side to side now. Rock side to side. So you drop your right side of your body toward the ground and then the left. Don't go too fast here. You want to make sure that you can stop if you feel any pain. A little discomfort is normal, but no shooting pain, please. Now take the arms over, all the way overhead, and make a snow angel. Bring the arms down. This can be a lot. When the arms are out to the side, for me, that's very sore. So I just don't bring my arms so close to the floor. If it's too much, bring the arms away from the floor a bit. And if you're on the foam roller, this would be the same thing. Ah. Okay. Turn onto your right side and press yourself up to come off your prop. Let's place that prop off to the side. And come on up for an active warm-up. Up on your feet, we'll warm up the upper back and the chest, actually the whole body, all right? So inhale, arms up, exhale, down. Inhale up, bend the knees on the way down. Inhale up, down, up. Now we roll all the way down to a forward fold, hands on shins or floor or feet. Bend your knees deeply and then lengthen the legs. Any amount, they don't have to go all the way straight. Bend your knees deeply and then lengthen. Bend, lengthen, bend, and lengthen. Slowly roll up, climb a ladder. Reach, 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 reach. Keep going. Now out to the side, same thing, same reaching. And you can turn your feet out, bend the leg that you're reaching toward. Come back to center. Pull your arms in like a wide arm push-up. Press forward and pull. Forward. Use resistance like you're pushing against a wall or the floor. Push. Get a little cat-cow action here. And push. Pull the elbows together. Hands forward. Elbows together. Hands forward. Push and pull. Push. Pull. Push. Pull. Push. Out to the side. Twist. Same side. Reach. And reach. Other side. And reach. 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 And reach. Arms out to the sides. And reach. And reach. And reach. Nice. Come to the feet hip width. Press up onto the ball of the foot. Press up. Point the foot. Ball of the foot and down. We're going to use this later. Ball of the foot. Press to point. Ball of the foot and down. Ball. Press. Ball. One more. Press. Other side. And ball. Point. Ball. Down. Ball. Point. Ball. Articulate through that foot. Point and down and point and down. Grab your hand weights. If you don't have hand weights, you can do these exercises without them. No big deal. W arms. Open, open, and open. Open, open, open. Y arms and open, open. Reach and reach, reach, reach. Now triceps reach back and back, back and back. Bending and straightening the elbow. That's pretty much the only movement here. Reach, reach, reach. Now we pulse. Keep them back and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Back to the bent elbow. Now we're going to do the same tricep lift, but slow. For 4, 3, 2, hold it. For 4, 3, 2, return, and 4, 3, 2, 1. Again. 4, 3, 2, hold. 4, 3, 2, return. 4, 3, 2, one more set. 4, 3, 2, and hold. 4, 3, 2, return. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to the front. Y arms and down. Y arms and down. Y and Y. Lean forward a bit at the hips, but keep your back straight, right? No rounding, please, in the lower spine. Keep that back straight. And we're going to lift to the side and up. Up and up. There's those upper back muscles, right? Lift, lift, and lift. Slow down. 4, 3, 2. Hold it. 4, 3, 2. Return. 4, 3, 2. Again. 4, 3, 2. Hold. 4, 3, 2. Return. 4, 3, 2. And one more. 1, 3, 2. And hold. 4, 3, 2. Return. And 4, 3, 2. And 1. Now lean back. Try not to push the hips forward, but lean back. So you're pulling your core in like you're putting on a corset or a weight belt, and then you're leaning back with the weights in front of the shoulders. Lift up, touch the weights, down. Lift up and down. This is the chest here. Up and down. Up, up, up. Now you can do these or open. Open, and if you open, palms face up, together. Slight bend in the elbow. Open, together. Open, together. Open, together. If these are too much, go back to the first one. You can get to these eventually. Last one. There we go. W. Seems easy now. 6, 7, and 8. Put your weights down. Grab your bolster. Now, if you don't have a bolster, you can use 2 blankets stacked on top of each other. Like so. If you have a bolster, place it lengthwise on your mat. Come in front, chest in front of the bolster. Right, so that you're not squishing yourself. If at any point during this exercise you feel like you're too far forward, like males especially, guys, you might need to move back because your center of gravity is higher. Women, try to be forward here, and if you need to move back, then adjust. All right, so head down on the ground, palms facing downward, legs a little bit wider than the hips so that, to accommodate that width of the bolster. And on the inhale, we're going to lift up the right arm, the left leg, and the chest. Lift and come down. Now the left arm, the right leg, lift and down. So alternating arm and leg. Lift and down, lift and down. Use those back muscles to lift up. See if you can lift your chest a little higher, like the collarbone area of your chest, a little higher through use of those traps and rhomboids. Lift, lift. You're also using your triceps when you lift your arms like this, and your hamstrings, lifting the legs. Lift. Now, all arms and all legs, lift. Lift. Use those back muscles to lift the shoulders a little bit higher when you get to the top. Lift. Lift. 2 more. 1 and 2. All right. Place your hands next to you and come on up. Place the bolster or set of blankets in front of you, way to the front of your mat. Or I don't have any room, but you might want to put your bolster in front of your mat. Okay. I'm going to be here because that's all I have room for. All right, so the elbow goes right in the middle of the bolster. You draw that line down the middle of the bolster from right to left. That's where your elbow goes. Now the legs will stay on the ground this time. No lifting the legs. At least try not to. Press the arms down. They're going to stay straight. and you're going to lift up with your chest and your head. And then come down, forehead on the bolster. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come down. There's a drawing of the arms towards you. There isn't much movement because you're just on a bolster. But there is a drawing of the arms toward you as you lift up. Press the arms down to lift and use the back muscles. You could do this exercise only using the arms, but we want to use the back muscles as well to get that posture into a free state. All right, last one. Good. Come on up. This time, place the bolster just about in the middle of your mat, or so that you can lay down on your back and place your feet on it. Watch me for a moment because it's important that you don't turn your head when you're up in the bridge, all right? So if you need to look at the screen, please come down first and then turn your head, okay? So watch me for a moment so that you don't turn your head. I'm going to lift up into the bridge. I'm going to pick up the right leg, all right? And I'm going to lower down and lift. Lower down and lift. Okay, so you try now. All right, so come on up. Lift up your right knee. Lift and down. Lift and down. Your palms can be face down on the floor. Lift. You may feel your hamstring working on the back of your left thigh. Maybe the glutes getting involved as well. Last one. And down. Other side. Place the right foot down, pick up the left knee, and lift, 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 lift. Keep going. Press that foot. Feel the foot on the bolster pressing down. And keep in mind that at the top, your upper back muscles start to work. And lift. Okay, bring that foot down. Now, same thing, but with the legs turned out. So we're going to turn the legs out, all right? First the left, bring the right leg in. The right leg can be parallel. Left leg is turned out. It won't turn out a lot. You can see I don't have a lot of turnout here, okay? But that's what I have, all right? The idea here is to work the glute max. So this is the left butt cheek. We're going to work that major part of the butt. And lift up and down. So that's the reason for the turnout. So it doesn't really matter how much you turn out. You just need to turn out. And if you want to check to see if that muscle's working, put your hand on your left butt. Lift. Lift. Two more. Lift and lift. Okay. Right foot down, turn it out. Pick up your left knee and lift and lift. You can always check to make sure that muscle's working. Sure is. Lift. Lift. See if you can get to a point where you lift high enough that your upper back muscles come into play to draw your shoulders toward each other or toward the floor at the top. Last one. Okay, pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rocking side to side. Turn onto your right side and come on up. And let's come into our yoga practice. Come onto all fours. Let's get our cat-cow on. Spread your fingers out. Knees below the hips. Inhale and lift the chest to cow pose. Exhale and round the spine to cat. Inhale to cow. Now use those back muscles there. Don't just let gravity pull you down. And then round your spine. Push the floor away. Feel those pec muscles engaging, the chest muscles. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Now notice here your pecs are stretching. Exhale, cat. Upper back muscles stretching. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Spread your toes out. Inhale. and exhale. Come into child's pose, touch your big toes together, knees stay apart. Look forward at your hands and set it so that your index finger is pretty much parallel to the long edge of your mat. And then bring your head down. Feel that base of the index finger pressing down. Lift up your head again and look and see, are your inner elbows facing each other? Can you set it so that they are? From here, keep your hands where they are, lift your hips, and then tuck your toes and lift up to down dog. If you like to do a pedal of the feet, go ahead. If you prefer to stay still, that's fine. Spread your toes, no matter what you're doing. Again, ground that index finger mound. Lift those sits bones back and up. And then a slight drawing of the tailbone toward the heels. Upper spine getting long. See if you can lengthen the armpit. Don't press it down, lengthen it. Bend your knees, look forward at your hands, and walk forward, feet to the hands. Fold into forward fold. Bend your knees, hands on hips. Come on up to stand in Tadasana. Feet can be hip width or together in Tadasana. Reach your pinky finger and ring finger down toward the floor, and you'll feel those shoulder blades come onto your back. There's something about that reach through the pinky and ring that aligns that scapula right against your body. So here the chest is probably more lifted than usual in this pose, but see if you can soften your belly. We don't want this to be that hardened lift of the chest, standing at attention. We want that Buddha posture. Soft belly, receptive heart. Inhale and bring the arms up to Urdhva Hastasana, looking up at your hands. Exhale, swan dive forward to forward fold. You are welcome to use blocks for any of this work. I highly recommend the use of props. Bend your knees and look forward. I'm going to grab my blocks to show you how to use them in case you want to. And step your right foot back to a lunge. Bring your right knee down to the ground. Inhale, lift the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands down. Come into the lunge, press through the back heel, stomp your left foot down. Inhale, knee down, lift up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands down, tuck the toe, lift the leg, press through. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Isometrically push the right knee back on the mat. Exhale, hands down, lift up. Draw inner thighs toward midline. Inhale, lift up. Maybe you can go back a little further. Exhale, hands down, lunge. Step that foot forward, take as many steps as you need. Forward fold. Let your head drop. Bend your knees, look forward. Take your left leg back to the lunge. Now, if your knee is bothering you, as it does a lot of people, put a blanket underneath the knee for padding. Just flat on the floor, a blanket. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down to lunge. Draw those inner thighs toward midline. Inhale, up. Exhale, lift. Feel the breath coursing through those nadis, coursing through your body. One more here. To the lunge. And step forward. Forward fold. Spread your toes in your forward fold. Bend your knees, hands to hips, move your blocks out of the way, and come up to stand. Take a wide stance, arms out to the sides, bend the elbows, and touch the shoulder caps with your fingertips. Make circles with your elbows. If you have rotator cuff issues, the circle can be small. Change the direction. Getting some movement into these tissues. Very nice. Take your hands onto your hips. Turn your right foot out, your left foot in. Lunge and lengthen. Lunge, knee toward the little toes, lengthen. Lunge and lengthen. Lunge and lengthen. This time come into warrior two. Now take your hands onto your hips and turn your torso to the right enough that that knee comes out over the little toes very easily. As you can see, my chest is not turned to face the side, right? Here. So this is where my hips are going to stay. Arms go out, and then see if you can broaden through that left collarbone, and maybe you can turn just your upper chest. That will give you some mobility in that upper spine. Don't turn the hips, just the upper chest. It's hard to do. Lift your chin. Go back to reverse warrior. Left hand down the thigh, right palm face up, and go back. Try not to lose your lunge. Come back to warrior two, and lengthen the leg. Back to center. Turn left leg out, right leg in, lunge, and up. Bringing some movement into the hip before we hold the posture. This time come in and stay. Hands are on the hips. Get that knee to move out over the little toes. Right here, can you ground the outer right foot, the back foot? Can you ground that down? Lift the inner right thigh up to the bone, to the thigh bone. Arms out. Try not to turn your hips, but maybe you can turn your upper spine a little more toward the center. Lift the chin. Reverse warrior, right hand down the thigh, left palm face up, and go back. You can look down or up. Back to warrior two. And come on up, turn your feet parallel. Nice. Shimmy or hop your feet together. Come into Utkatasana, chair pose. Feet together here. Make sure you're not overarching your low back, and try to draw your arms up a little bit higher. That's it. Shift the weight over to the right. Don't lift a foot, but just shift. Shift the weight over to the left, the right, the left. Can you lift your arms a little higher? Come back to center. Inhale and lift up, hands on your hips, and open. All right. Turn your feet out. Come into goddess pose. Knees in line with the toes, so you may need to adjust your feet, and then the arms in a cactus. So again, we're trying not to have a pushed posture. Sometimes the butt goes out and the chest goes forward in our attempts to get a little lower. But raise it up a little bit. Tailbone drops, chest lifts. Inhale, lift up. Now a little back bend. Arms straight, palms face forward, 5-pointed star, upper back bend. And then back to goddess. That's it. 5-pointed star. Exhale to goddess. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Bring your hands down to your hips. Turn your feet parallel and shimmy or hop them together. Nice. Come to the front of your mat. Tadasana. Reach for the pinkies. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, look forward. Take your right leg back to a lunge. Spin your right heel down to the ground. Here we're setting up for warrior one, so you may want to widen your feet so that you're more on train tracks than a balance beam. That back leg is turned in, right? Partially turned in, partially turned out, just about halfway. Bend your left knee deeply to get into the lunge. That's it. Then reach your arms out to the sides and up. Come into your warrior one. Now it's unlikely that your hips will face forward. Some people it will, but most people's anatomy does not allow that. And then lift your chest up. We're trying to turn the chest to the front, even if the hips don't go there. And then lift up and begin to go back. Take your hands behind your head. Traction by pulling up on your head, and then lean your head back into your hands. Lunge deeply. Stay here and straighten the arms up. Bring the hands down. Step forward to forward fold. Bend your knees, look forward. Take your left leg back. Spin your left heel to the ground. Deep lunge into the right leg. Inhale, arms up. Warrior one. Try to connect your outer back foot to the ground by lifting, again, that inner left thigh up to the femur bone. If you like that move to take the hands behind the head, go ahead and do it. Traction up on the neck, and then bend the front leg, lift the heart. Straighten the elbows again. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step forward. This time take your feet a little wider than the hips and fold down. If you want to grab elbow to elbow, go ahead. And if you like to rock side to side, go ahead. Release the hands down and walk or hop to down dog. Come forward to plank. If you need, bring your knees down to the ground and lower down to the mat, chaturanga. I currently have a wrist injury, so I'm not demonstrating that. Okay. All right. Lengthen your left arm in front of you. Take your right hand onto your right foot. Now make sure your right knee is directly behind the hip, and then draw your right foot toward your outer hip. Right foot toward outer hip. So there's a little internal rotation of the leg because the foot is coming to the outer hip, whereas the knee is in line with the hip. As you do this, reach your knee back behind you, further behind you. Now, if there's room for you and you want to come up to Sphinx and you want to pull this foot a little bit more, you can. All right, release that leg. Let's go to the other side. Bend your left leg. Hold the foot in the hand and get your alignment here. Knee in line with hip, foot to outer hip. Here we're stretching the quads and the hip flexor, and you'll stretch the hip flexor even more if you reach your knee further back behind you. And again, if there's room and you want to come up to Sphinx and pull this foot down, you can go ahead and do that. Release the leg. Take your arms out in a V and come up onto your fingertips like Spider-Man. I call this Spidey Sphinx. Bend your elbows slightly, press down with your fingertips, and lift your chest up. Here's your Spidey Sphinx. And come on down. Inhale, lift up. Stay here for a couple breaths. Use your back muscles, not just your hands. And come on down. Keeping the hands wide, turn to face the fingers toward each other. Right, fingers pointing inward toward the mat. Hands are still wide, and this time we are going to put some weight on the hands. So go ahead and press up to a little bit of a cobra, higher cobra. That's it. Try not to sit in your low back. Draw your tailbone back toward your heels so that your lower abdominals engage slightly so that you're not jamming into your low back. Feel the width across the collarbone in this position. And come on down. All right, come on up. Grab your blocks. Grab your bolster. I want you to have all these props available so that you can use whatever you have and whatever you want to use. Okay. Blankets too. And I realize you might only have some of this stuff. All right, so the blocks are going to go between the feet, all right? And I want the feet to generally be a little wider than the hips. Like when we do Virasana and the heels are to the outer hip, like so. I don't know if I sit down, maybe you can see it better. Heel is to the outer hip, right? This is the alignment I'm looking for. So depending on your height, you will need to adjust your blocks. It looks like I'm doing one of mine long ways and one of mine short ways. So that seems to work for me, but you may need to change your situation. I'm going to place this bolster because I know that I can't come all the way down in Ustrasana to my heels. So I'm going to place this bolster right here. You might need more height. Take 1 or 2 blankets. You can stack up as much as you want. All right. Hands on the hips, trying to keep the hips right over the knees. Right? We don't want to see this in the Ustrasana, Camel Pose, that is. All right. So trying to keep the hips over the knees, hands on the hips, draw the pelvis downward as you lift the chest upward. All right. And then lift the collarbone as you come into an upper back bend. Draw your elbows closer together behind you. Circle your right arm forward and up, and then back, touching your bolster or whatever prop you have. And then lift your left arm up to the sky. And you can go back as far as feels comfortable while trying to keep your hips over your knees. Because we're looking for a back bend here, not a knee bend. Now slowly come up, hands on the hips. Now take your left arm, circle it forward and up, grab for your props, right arm straight up, and again, try to lift and get a bend using your traps, using your rhomboids. Lift and feel the stretch across the chest. Come on up. Option to go both sides at the same time. Reach up and over, up and over. Grab whatever prop you got. Try again to align your hips over your knees. Now squeeze those blocks between your feet and imagine there's a block between your knees and you're squeezing the block between your knees. That's important. That's internal rotation of the hip joint, the legs. And then maybe you can lift your chest a little more, drop your shoulders back a little more. Take one hand onto the low back, other hand, come on up. Take a few figure eights with your hips. We'll go in again, and you're welcome to drop down your props if you think there's more room. You can go in one arm at a time. If you prefer to go in both hands at a time, that's fine. Lift up and over, lift up and over. Once you get there, align your hips over your knees, squeeze that imaginary block between the knees, and go back. Now spread the toes. We warmed up those feet at the beginning of class. Spread the toes. Broaden the collarbone. Slowly come up. Head comes up last. Take a few figure eights. One more time with the option to come up onto your toes if that would help, because this gives you a pretty high prop. Okay? So depending on where you are, go ahead and come in. You can simply reach down or you can circle one at a time. I like that option. Again, lift the chest up. Collarbone is broad. Head can either go back in line with the spine or chin can be forward. Hips over knees. Squeeze the imaginary block between the thighs and arch back. Use your back muscles to help. Hands on the low back and slowly come up. Tuck your toes under and sit back on your blocks in Virasana. Knees come close together. Hands on the thighs. Take a moment. Find your equanimity. Notice your inhale. Downward facing dog. Move your blocks out of the way. We're going to use a neutral spine to come out of that back bend first. Let this spine get some traction, especially the low back, which may have overbent a bit in that last pose. Imagine someone's pulling back and up on your hips. And then they're pulling straight back on your hips. Watch the space coming between the vertebrae. Come down to the knees. Bring your legs around underneath you for Sukhasana. And if you like, you are welcome to sit up on a blanket. Let's put the right shin in front. Take your left hand to the right thigh. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale and twist. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, twist, broaden your right collarbone here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Come back to the center. Place your left shin in front. Turn to the left. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Slide your right shoulder blade forward toward your left knee. Inhale. Exhale. This is how we slowly work out of back bends, with neutral spine and then twists before going into what we really want to do, which is forward bends. This is a much more therapeutic way out. Come down onto your back, and if you have a strap that you would like to use for Supta Padangusthasana 1, then grab that. Come down and pull your right knee into your chest. If you're using the strap, place it over the foot. We're going to cross this leg to the left only about 30 degrees. And you have the option to lengthen your left leg onto the floor. Let your low back release as you reach your right heel into that strap. If you don't have the strap, just hold behind the thigh and reach the heel away. Bend this knee and pull it into the chest and come back to center. Release the strap. Switch it to the other side. Left knee into the chest and up. cross 30 degrees to the right, and then that option to lengthen the right leg onto the floor. Reach your left heel away and watch the unraveling in the back, the low back. Pull the knee into the chest, come back to center. Release the strap. Pull both knees into the chest and give yourself a hug. Take a little rocking side to side. Bring your feet down into constructive rest. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Flex that left foot. Now you can stay here or pull your legs towards your chest and hold behind the thigh, the right thigh, or in front of the shin. But hold only with the right hand. Pull your left hand out and take your left thumb into the left hip crease and push forward so that there's no jamming in that hip. So you're pushing with your left thumb as you're pulling with your right hand. Really flex that left foot to keep the knee in a safe position. Release both legs down to the floor. Cross right ankle over left thigh. Pull the legs close. Left hand stays on the left leg. Right thumb goes to right hip crease. Press forward. Press forward with the right as you pull with the left hand. Release the legs down to constructive rest. Pull the knees into the chest. Give yourself one last hug. Little rocking side to side. If you'd like to come into happy baby, go ahead. Hold the insides or outsides of your feet, knees toward the armpits, and you can rock this side to side. If you don't like this pose, you can try Sukhasana up in the air, where you cross just the shins like you're in simple cross-legged. And you hold from the outsides either the knees or the feet. And you can rock that too. Now everybody come into Sukhasana, simple cross-legged, holding from the outsides, knees or feet, and then keep your legs in that position as you lower them down to the ground, so that you end up with cross-legged on the ground. Take your arms overhead into a diamond shape, soft diamond shape. You can clasp your fingers together if you like, and rest in this open chest posture. Notice how the pecs feel. Perhaps there's a softness that wasn't there before class. Notice how the upper back feels. Perhaps the upper traps, where the neck meets the shoulders, has gotten a little bit of freedom. The journeys of yoga are long ones. Changing the patterns of your body is a long process. But it does happen. Bring yourself into Shavasana now. Legs come together and then lengthen out. And if you like to use a blanket or bolster underneath your knees, you would either roll up your blanket or use your bolster. Place it down under your knees, especially since we did some low back stuff. Could be therapeutic feeling. And then wherever your arms feel comfortable, palms down or up or facing you. Let yourself rest down. If you need a pillow, place another blanket underneath your head. And now let everything drop. Your bones are dropping. Your muscles are dropping. Even your breath gets closer to the earth. Deepen your breathing. Twinkle your fingers and your toes. Take your right arm overhead, lay it on the ground behind you. Turn onto your right side, resting your head on your arm. In this position, open your eyes just about halfway. Begin to let the light in. Take long blinks if you need. Eventually let the eyes open more. Lengthen your left leg and push yourself up. Come to any seated position. Place your hands down on your thighs. Set your head in line with the rest of your spine. The energy coursing through this entire area from the strengthening of those traps and rhomboids and the stretching of the pecs. Take your hands to heart center and, like the Buddha, feel the energy traveling through the nadis, prana flowing, bringing calm and resilience. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all creatures everywhere be happy and free, and may our actions contribute to their happiness and freedom. I wish you peace, joy, and love. Thanks. See you next time.